Oh my God.
We haven't had that in a while.
It's been a while. What the
fuck is up?
Fuck. Welcome to BLAPCHAT. We are back, man. We're back. The whole squad's here. I don't know what episode this is. Josh, what episode is this?
77.
Okay.
77.
Lucky 77.
I feel like he was saying 75 for like the past 4 episodes.
I feel like we've been in the 70s for a long ass time.
Yes, we have, and I actually remembered for once 77. Guys, we're close to 80.
We're quick with that.
Close to 80.
All right, so welcome to BLAPCHAT episode 77.
Nice.
I go by the name of Illmind. This is an all music production podcast. I'm here with my co-host. You know what
Glam Glizzle.
Glam Glizzle.
Bruh. Yeah.
Tough.
Sprinkle that.
Well, sprinkle it right on top.
Yeah.
What else we got here?
Who else?
You know,
It's your girl, Perfection. Plain and simple.
Yep.
Yo, she was all dramatic on the timing. Yo.
Glam Glizzle.
How's that? Yo, Atlas the plug.
It's the guy.
It's the guy. The pivot king.
But shout out to Illmind, great producer.
Sorry, I take too much advantage of that, man. Shout out to Joe. But
And you take just
you gotta use that forever.
I loved hearing that.
Yeah,
that
man.
Fucking made me smile.
It was so great. It was so fun. Shout out to Parks.
Oh yeah.
Shout out to the whole squad. So this is BLAPCHAT, man. Episode 77. This is again, like I said, an all music production podcast. I feel like it's kind of been a while since the four of us have been together. So we're here. We're back. Shout out to all you guys that are subscribed to the podcast. If you're on iTunes, if you're on SoundCloud, on YouTube, make sure you hit that subscribe button. And don't be afraid to leave comments. You know what I'm saying? Like, let us know what you want to hear from us, what kind of topics you guys want us to cover. Again, this is like, you know, we like talking about music production and the art of being a creator. So
don't be shy.
Don't be shy, man.
Don't be shy.
Save that shit for Illmind podcast.
Don't be shy.
Don't be shy.
And make sure you subscribe and comment. But we appreciate all you guys that have been tuning in, man, every Friday. That's what we do, man. So we're here with a very special guest. Speaking of creatives, he's a man of all trades, man. I met this guy back in 2013, 2012, during the Slaughterhouse sessions over at in Harlem. So his name is Mike Kuz, and he's an audio engineer. He's a producer. He also works closely with a lot of people like Budden Grands, and I'll let him go through the discography, but let's give a warm round of applause to Mike Kuz in the building.
Mike Kuz.
Appreciate y'all, man.
Mike Kuz in the building.
Appreciate y'all having me.
Mike.
Hell yeah. What's up, Illy?
Chilling, man. Thank you for coming through.
Thank you for having me.
How'd you get the name Mike Kuz? Is that your last name, or?
Yeah, my last name is Kazoyan. It's Armenian, so just was like naturally a nickname for most of my life. And then, honestly, when Slaughterhouse put out what was the Hammer Dance, and everybody was like, my real name, my rap shit, I was like, I'm gonna just run with my real name. You know, like, I don't gotta change it. I don't gotta.
So I like that.
Kind of just kept it short and sweet.
Mike
Everybody
Kuz.
took to it fast. And,
I like that.
You know, takes it all the way back home too.
That's what's up. So for people that aren't familiar with your work and your discography and stuff, give them a little rundown of what you worked on recently, old, what you do, the whole spiel.
Okay, so I'm a producer first and an engineer next. I've been producing, you know, for a long time now, since probably like 2004 is when I got like my first DAW. In terms of, I started getting into the engineering more like out of necessity, probably around like 2008, 2009, just like for my friends and stuff. And then I graduated college in 2010, moved to the city to start interning and moving around. And that's where I really feel like I learned that it would be super valuable for me to be well-versed in both areas. So, I mean, just, you know, of course I worked with a ton of artists coming up when I was recording with my friends and stuff, and then I got into the city and I started, you know, I linked up with Just Blaze, Ariel up at Stadium.
Yep, shout out to Ariel.
And then, I mean, since then, let's see, I've worked with Wyclef, worked with, I worked on Take Care, I worked with Wale, I worked with Cole, man, I've mixed some stuff for Flex, nice. You know, I've been producing and recording for East,
Dave East,
for Dave East, And you know, like a lot of like just stuff that would come and go working in the studio too. You know what I'm saying? A couple days with this person. Like I did some stuff with Rat King for a while with Guru, and artists that would just kind of come through and work for a couple days. So when I go back and look at it, it's been quite a few people I've been kind of privileged to be in the studio with and to learn from.
And that's a combination of like production and engineering, or?
Yeah, well, when I was first coming up, like mainly, like for instance, when I worked on Take Care, me and my boy Perry, we recorded the gospel. Do you remember Lord Knows on that album?
Crazy.
We recorded the gospel choir for that.
That's dope. I didn't know that actually, because that's one
tight.
of my favorite tracks on there.
Definitely.
Just Blaze bodied that, and
he bodied it crazy.
He replayed that
yeah,
sample
well,
himself.
the version with the original sample is crazy too.
Right.
It always is. But
Right.
you know, we had problems clearing it, and then we kind of had to make an effort for a couple days to bring in some choirs and try some stuff. So
In true Just Blaze fashion.
yeah, right. And then you know, we set up like 20 mics in that live
course.
room there.
Right.
And
That's
gave
dedication, though.
Yeah,
That's like you guys really wanted that to happen.
I mean,
Right.
if it was it's even before it dropped, we were like, damn, this is a crazy record, especially for Drake. You know,
It's
like,
interesting,
It was
yeah.
very, very left field for that album.
Right, it's interesting because that was around the time. So there was this, for those of you who don't know, there was a studio called Stadium Red that was in like Harlem, and that's where Just Blaze's studio was, and that's where this amazing engineer Ariel was, and you were working out of there. That's how we met.
Yep.
And so in 2013, the Slaughterhouse was together working on their album. That just hasn't come out, and so it was a bunch of us producers, and you were kind of like one of the main engineers there.
I feel like we really got to take a moment to reflect on what a powerhouse. I mean, that was a really crazy situation, man.
That was
Like,
cool.
let me paint the picture, man.
Please paint it.
I was working.
Because I paint it, people don't believe me.
Right.
Yeah, nah, for real. And I was the assistant engineer and tracking engineer on a lot of these sessions. So, you know, it was my job. Like if even one of y'all was in the studio, I had to be there, you know. And so it was funny because Joe and Joell would like to come in the morning, and then Royce and Crook would come overnight. And then also, all in the facility, we had it was Just, Illmind, Justice League, Cardiac, A-Rab, Q-Tip,
Crazy.
and am I missing anybody else? I feel like that was like the crux of it.
I think Frequency was in and out.
Frequency was in and out. We of course received ideas from other producers and stuff, but like everybody mentioned was working there for almost a month straight, like sun up to sundown, and it was still one of my favorite sessions.
It was
that I
fun.
look back
There was a
on
lot
for
of
sure.
memories, man.
Yeah.
So what got you in the door there exactly?
Actually, so when I first moved to the city, I started looking up a bunch of studios to see where I might want to cut my teeth, and I landed at this spot in Harlem that was called Stadium Red. It was on 125th Street, and I went in for an interview, and I was like, I'm fresh out of college. I was dead ass, like I was so naive that I went and applied for a job. Like I thought I was qualified. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I went in and I interviewed with Julie.
Nice. Shout out to Julie. Yep.
And you know, she's a good friend now. She kind of played me that day because I brought like a beat CD and stuff.
Of
and
course.
she was like,
what are you doing?
Yeah, she was like, well, we have internship opportunities. We don't need this.
Right.
Oh, she slid it back.
Slid my
Oh,
beat
shout out to
CD.
Julie.
Split it. Like that's like
That must
Do not
have hurt.
fuck with Julie. I don't know if you guys have ever met her, but
real.
she's amazing, man.
Yeah,
She's amazing.
she's the shit. So that's how I started there, and then you know I just kind of started being a fly on the wall, and you know, doing my duties, not really getting in anybody's way, trying to feel it out and just play my part there.
But it's dope for me to see, and you know, my story's kind of similar, where you just end up in a place where it's like the place to be.
Yep.
You know, at that time in your life, or you know, just starting your journey, because there were a lot of names in those rooms in that studio. So you know, you were lucky enough to land a position there, you know, that ended up positioning you in the future.
And it's funny too, because even that day, I can laugh at it now, but I was really cut down that day. That like I went to interview because I was like hype, you know, and I was like, cleaning toilets and dusting plaques and this and that. But you know, honestly, it was, if I didn't do that, because you know, when I came in, I went to a college that had a music program, but it wasn't a music college. But everybody I was interning with like went to like IAR, SAE, Five Towns, Full Sail. So I was like, I'm gonna get eaten alive in here if I don't get all my shit fast.
Right.
So I just got real obsessive about being in the rooms, writing the gear down, like, you know, making even like, you know, what Guru likes when he comes to the studio, you know, like make sure that we got you know, rolls and Swedish fish and you know that type of stuff.
Getting
you know
in
what I
their
mean?
coffee.
Guru likes Swedish fish.
It might have been Wyclef actually. My memory is a little foggy, but like, you know, just memorizing little things about clients and the staff, and you know, then it would turn into something where Just would be like, "Yo, I'm having a party for my birthday. Like, do you want to come?" And then, you know, that type of stuff, and everybody just kind of became family, and you know, I became more of a peer amongst those guys.
I love that. I love that.
This was all like unpaid, right?
I interned. I worked at that studio for a year and a half before I made any money. Yeah, and then when I did, it was like $10 an hour.
Because that just reminds me of the conversation that people have been having on like social media in regards to like unpaid internships, and like I get it, but stories like this go to show you that sometimes you just have to pay your dues to get to where you need to go.
Yeah.
You know?
I don't think it should be, you know, the standard, you know, and I do feel for people.
Definitely.
You know, because I was also working 40 hours a week.
For sure.
You know, like not sleeping at all is clearly not healthy, you know, but at the end of the day, you know, it is what it is. You know?
Yeah, I mean, I think the internship whole idea, I think for me at least, it's a little different in the music industry. 'Cause in the music industry,
you gotta,
the lifeblood is the relationship.
Different,
you know, like the fact that you were able to have this internship at Stadium Red with Just Blaze, but then do a good enough job for Just to decide on his own. You know what? That kid Mike is cool.
Right.
He does his job. He's always on time. He knows I love Swedish fish.
Right.
You know, like he's on point and he's a cool guy. Like, let me invite him to my shit. And now, you know, you have that like relationship with Just, which you never would have had if you know what I mean. So
and that's what I try to tell people too, is especially a lot of times when people come through Steel Sessions, some people come and they don't even play music. They're just like, I'm great, like what's next, what should I do next? And I think they associate it too much with like the task work, you know what I mean? Like they're like, oh well, I already know how to do this, and like, am I really gonna learn if I'm just getting coffee and doing favors here? But I mean, you hit the nail on the head, man. Like it's not about that really. It's kind of it's about becoming a part of the scene. You know what I mean? Like because you know when I've gotten so much work, actually, that not the 88 joint, but on Album About Nothing, that credit came because of you. Because Dan hit me up when they had their spot in Jersey, and he was like, "Yo, we got a spot in Jersey that we record at. Illmind says you're dope. Like you come highly recommended. You want to come fuck with us." So
there you go. This is the moment.
Yeah,
You gotta blab that. You gotta blab that.
For real.
You gotta blab that. But that's kind of what I always like stress my interns, because obviously, you know, managing a music studio, I'm very hands-on with the interns.
Yep.
And they're part of my responsibility. And for me, it's like, if you make my job harder, you're just making it worse for yourself.
You're making it worse for yourself. And going back to what you said, sorry to Alice cut you off real quick, but the Album About Nothing thing with Wale, I remember that so clearly because I met Wale through Sky Zoo, who's a good friend of mine, obviously you guys know. And Sky had a couple sessions with Wale, so we went to Wale's crib in Jersey. What year was that? 2013?
14 probably.
2014, and we were working, and so Wale needed an engineer. So, and I noticed the setup, I saw everything, and I'm like, man, let me hit Mike, because I remember working with him at the Slaughterhouse sessions, and he was super on point, really nice guy, super talented. I want to give him a call, so then I hit you up, and so you ended up going over there.
And I legit forgot about that until just now. I was playing it through in my head.
Yeah, me too.
Oh, shit, I still owe him. Thank you.
So it's like stuff like that. Going back to the intern, you know, idea. It's almost like if you're gonna intern, tell me what you think too, Perfection, because you have actual interns at you know, Engine Room. Like if I was an intern, that would be my thing. Would be like, let me just like
be helpful.
Let me be helpful. Like let me be the best I could be, because I'm not going to force anyone's hand into trying to help me, but I'm going to give them no choice, because I'm going to be so on point with what I do that they're not going to have a choice but to call me.
You got to become that guy.
Yeah, you have to become that guy. Like, and for me, you know, I started working at an early age. Like I started like really working and being, you know, active in businesses at like 15. So I have years of like experience knowing what's professional, what works, what doesn't. Obviously I have a lot to learn because I'm still young, but you know, I have experience. So for me, it's like always making things easier for everyone, being helpful, and just bringing something to the table, no matter where you work, especially in this music industry. You know, and I speak for me, managing the studio and just everything else I'm involved in. I'm super busy, so I don't have time to, you know, have someone make my job harder. Like if I'm gonna give you an opportunity, I want you to help me bring something to the table. You know, it's funny. I have one intern. He's super cool, and he, you know, he got certified. He knows how to engineer here and there, but you know, he's still learning the ropes. So he's like, yeah, Avian, I'm like waiting for you to give me sessions. I'm like, you're waiting for me to give you sessions. I was like, you're never gonna get a session if you're waiting for me.
Yeah.
I was like, how are you helping me? Like, you got your feet on the table right now. Like, what? And I was like, you know, step it up. Show me that I need you. Like, prove to me that you can handle sessions, dealing with clients, anything I need from you. And then I might be prone to say, you know what? I'm gonna give you a shot. And I swear after that, he was on his A game. Whatever you need, I got you. And then I started throwing him little sessions like, hey, I don't have an engineer. Could you do this little podcast here and there? And that's how it starts. It's like you can't feel like something has to be given to you, especially in this industry. You have to go for it.
I feel like a paid internship at this point, just in my opinion, I've never had an internship, but I feel like it would do a disservice to, for one, the people who have done unpaid, you know, people who went through it. And I think you will miss the point of it by getting paid, because then it you're basically saying you can come fresh out of college and get a job based off of what you went. That never happens.
It could distract you.
Happens.
For sure.
Yeah, so it's like kind of like it will take out. You will not be humble if you do that, if you feel like that.
Because then you're getting paid from the jump.
Then you're getting paid from the jump, so what the fuck?
But don't get me wrong, there are certain instances where I know some interns work hard and I'm like, I wish I had a budget to pay you, because I know that you are sacrificing your time and you aren't making money, especially if you're young, you know, you're fresh out of college, like you might not have that many bills to pay, but you still need money for food, transportation, you still want to hang out.
In the creative world, I think your personality and your relationships, that social currency is it's a time investment. It's a time capsule. Like,
be good if there was a medium.
I'm definitely never opposed to paying people. But what I'm saying is for people to have the closed mentality of like, oh, I should get paid.
I should just be getting paid.
Like, you need life experience, and unfortunately, sometimes that comes free.
You know what it is too with internships. So I hired probably about like between 10 and 20 interns I've hired even at Roseville, we had one intern. I hired one intern for each day of the week. So they come in one day a week, just come in and do runs. You know, get coffee, get food, go get the wire, whatever we needed, they would kind of do. And what I noticed is, and it's interesting, you know, Josh, who's filming today and is also a producer, was one of the interns that I interviewed. And one thing about Josh is Josh was the only intern that I interviewed that never asked about money. So like he would come in, most interviews I said come in, I said, so am I getting paid? So when do I get paid? Do I get paid in a month? Is it 3 months in? Like, when does the money start coming in? Josh never at one time ever asked about money. And one thing people have to understand when it comes to hiring an intern, and if you are an intern, it's not about the money you're going to make. It's about the relationships that you're going to make and the people that you're going to meet. And it's your job, not my job or whoever hires you as an intern. It's your job to get the ball rolling and figure it out and get these contacts and start moving your brand on. It's not the people who will hire you. And I think that's what happens with internships is they come in and think everything's going to be given to them. But it's like, no, that's when you really start working.
Yeah, listen, there's two types of interns, right? And I think all of us as music creators, just that alone makes us interns. Because if you're not rich or you're not making a living off your music yet, you're interning. So I think there's two different types of interns. There's the intern that is waiting to be told what to do. And then there's the intern that takes initiative. And there's no in between. There's literally no in between. It's black and it's white. And then you throw on top of that the intern that is, like you said, Atlas, like expecting to get paid or really concerned about money. It goes directly in line with a music career, right? And music production. Like, let's say I have no placements, but I know I have really good beats. and you throw me in the studio with Jay-Z, right? I always use Jay-Z. I'm in the studio with Jay-Z, and I know I have good beats. I'm going to fucking prove myself first.
Right.
The first thing out of my mouth isn't going to be, yo, Jay, what's up, man? Cool. So when do I get paid?
Right.
Or, hey,
not for
so
nothing, like,
is it okay?
Right.
Is it okay if I charge you 10 racks for this beat I'm about to play you? Like, no, let me fucking...
Shut the fuck up.
Let me,
and
like,
let him do
prove
him.
myself.
Right.
Let me play some beats. Let me try to get on his good side. Let me figure out feel it out. Like, it's the same exact thing.
If
So
you're trying to get in the music industry thinking that you're going to be paid for every second of time that you ever put in, then
I just think
this isn't the place for you anyway.
Good luck
You know what I
to
mean?
you.
I just think
buddy.
it's a different hustle, and it takes a different hustle and a different mentality in order for you to accomplish certain things. Like
Totally.
even having this conversation, gearing away from unpaid or internships, but just the same idea. I get DMs all the time. I literally got a DM like 2 days ago that a guy's like, "Hey, what would it take for me to get an interview?" I'm like, "Interview you for what?"
I know.
Yeah.
I think I got that
we-
same email too.
Let me
It wasn't
tell-
even an email. I get like a couple
Oh,
DMs
I
like,
got it.
"Hey, how can I get an interview?" And I'm like, "For what?"
Let me make a
what?
point here. I'm going to add on to that. So the definition of an unpaid intern is someone who is working towards something but isn't getting paid for their time currently. But it's safe to say that they are maneuvering in different ways and planting seeds to where eventually that'll turn into some
No,
kind of payment, right?
No,
Yeah.
to
So-
me, an internship is college.
Right.
Like-
well,
like
so
you
let me
go,
finish my
like you
point though.
don't
Let me
get
finish
paid,
my
you
point.
just do it. Yeah,
So you're doing work, but you're not like directly getting paid, right? Well, guess what? As successful as I am, I'll take myself as an example, right? I'm interning. That means
Facts.
I'm an intern. I'll tell you why I'm interning. Because I have no idea when I'm getting paid.
Right.
If I could make a beat tomorrow and that shit can just sit on my hard drive all day, I can send it out.
forever.
I can
Forever.
send it out to my manager. I can send it to this A&R, this artist. They might not use it. I have no idea. So, as successful as I am, just using me as an example, I still don't know. I'm still functioning as an
Right.
intern. I'm still going out there proving myself to every fucking person I
Fact.
meet, regardless of how many plaques I have or
You gotta
Grammy
have
nominated.
big
picture
Like,
vision.
you throw me into a room with Sam Smith, who I never met. I don't know the guy. I have to fucking prove myself, right?
Right.
I'm interning. I'm
That's a fact.
getting on his good side. I'm trying to
Yeah.
That's a great
like
point, though.
get to him creatively, like regardless of how high or low I am in my career. So, like, fucking swallow your pride, man. Like we're
Swallow
all
your
out here
pride.
doing it.
And-
Swallow your pride, but it's also like that does create the leverage in the end.
Yeah.
Having that success. So coming from people who don't have anything.
But there's
the
always more, though.
There's always
Yeah.
more, and the moral of the story is you have to make it work. For
You have to make it work.
You have to put in the work. Like,
one person,
regardless.
yeah. Like I use Sam Smith as an example because okay, I'm successful, but like I can't go in a room with Sam Smith and dictate the way that Pharrell can.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Like
Exactly.
I can't, but like Pharrell can because he's
Yeah.
way more successful than I am. So
Right.
there's always gonna be more.
And I think
Yeah.
it's just at the end of the day, just knowing what works for you and always have people that you can talk to, that you can get advice from, because
Yeah.
there are companies out there and individuals that will take advantage of you. They
Right.
will, eat you alive just because you're an intern, and they can get you to do shit for free. So, you have to kind of have your own boundaries and know when enough is enough. If you feel
Yeah.
like it's not,
true.
it's
We all
not
wanna get
benefiting
paid.
you,
You know what I'm saying?
everybody.
Like, we
shit,
all trying to get money,
There are
but-
certain things that I work on that I'm still technically kind of interning because I'm not getting paid for,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
it's the relationships that I'm like, you know what, regardless, if there's no budget, there's nothing, I value you, so I would help you the best that I can.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because I know at the end of the day, when that money comes or when I need something, you're going to hold me down.
And also on
Facts.
top of that, those like what you're interning for, and to me, when you're interning for something, to me that means just like you're representing your brand,
Yeah.
right? Like you're
Yeah.
showing people what your brand is,
You just-
who you are, and showing them what you can do, right?
Right.
So like when you're interning and you're doing that, then it's your job to take that and then take it to the next level. It's not the people that brought you into intern. It's up to you to
Yeah.
do that.
I mean, if you're coming out the gate asking about money, I just feel like you're just not in the right space.
Oh, you're cut off.
You know what I
You're
mean?
cut off.
Like,
You need to just
gotta
go back
be-
to the drawing board
Yeah.
and figure out like what industry
and
you're
if
in
that
and how to go about that.
if that is a serious thing for you, then maybe you should find another way that so that you can leave that out of your creative space.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Where you're building with the people who are gonna.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, like, when you're interning, a lot of these guys that I help for, or that I help. I mean, even me being here now, like I used to, when I met Illmind, when I met Cardiac,
getting
when I
coffee
met
for
a lot of these
Illmind.
guys, I was setting up keyboards for them. You know what I mean?
Yep.
But like then, when I went out to LA for the first time, I could call Cardiac and
Yep.
be like, "Yo, what's good? I'm in LA," and he's like, "Oh, what?
Right.
For real? Come through. Like,
Yeah.
come chill."
Facts.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and you know, I got paid for those Slaughterhouse sessions. It was like $10 an hour.
Right,
You know what I
right.
mean? But you know what I mean? At the end of the day, I wasn't sitting there like
Justice
clocking
League
the
took,
money. You
took
know what
the
I mean?
budget.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I mean, I have engineers that now like do major label sessions that started off as interns,
Yeah.
and now they're like, if it's an up and coming rapper that's like
Yeah.
on his BS, please don't call me.
Exactly.
And I'm like, you went from an intern to
Yeah.
now being bougie,
Put it this
dictating
way.
what
Put it this
credits
way.
you want.
For all
That's
you
me now.
guys that
Yeah.
if you're concerned about the bag or just not even the bag, just success in general, I think all of this conversation is leading to one thing, right? And that one thing is the goal, to me at least, and you guys chime in. I think the goal is to get on the good side of the person that's in power, and that's
Facts.
literally it. Like, it doesn't matter how long or how little or when or how, but just
I mean,
do the thing that will get you on the good side of the person in power, just
Yeah.
in terms of like showing value, you know.
Right.
And I just think that in every scenario,
And have
it's
the
about
answers.
being valuable.
have
right?
the answers. Yeah,
Yeah.
have the answers.
Definitely.
Be, you know, you gotta be that person that people can call. And you know, I'm fortunate to kind of have it on both sides of the coin, being a producer who also really knows engineering, because ultimately what it is like whether somebody is in the studio and a piece of gear doesn't work, or a mic is broken, or a session is not opening, or they can't capture a feel for a bass line. Like, if you can be that person who comes in and
Yeah.
solve all those problems, you know what I'm saying? Like, it was the patch on this gear, or like
Yep.
you need to up the portamento on this bass, or you need, you know what I'm saying? Like, if
Yep.
you can be the person that is answering people's questions about multiple different things, then they're gonna keep hitting you for that
Dude,
stuff.
that's exactly why I called you first for the Wale session, was because my experience with you at the Slaughterhouse sessions was you problem solving. Like, I remember there was a time where we were in the live room and it was Justice League in their own
In the
room,
drum
because
booth,
they're
yeah.
you know, they're Justice League, so they get their own room. And then it was me, Cardiac, and Just Blaze, and I think I remember we had to like patch some audio in.
Yeah, from the live room
from the live
into the
room
control
to the
room.
control room,
Yeah.
and then you were running around doing it. And in my mind, just subconsciously, I'm like, damn, this dude works hard. Like, he knows what he's
Wow.
doing.
That's
Right.
so dope.
So like
So
then
dope.
when I got into the scenario of like recommending an engineer, I'm like, well, this is Wale. I'm not gonna invite like an engineer
Anybody.
that's like half-assed.
Right.
Let me call Mike. Mike, I remember the guy Mike from whatever, and then that's how it happened. So I don't know.
Dope.
That's a small example.
It's
but
dope to hear your mental play-by-play.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? From
That's
the
what it
other
was.
side.
I mean, I
So-
could have called anyone.
So you said in 2004 was when you got your first DAW, or when you
Yeah.
first started producing. So being that you are now, you say you just said it yourself, you know both sides, like the way
Yeah.
that you do it now. Was it always like that? Did you always? What was the spark for you to beat make? And then was it you being a producer and wanting that quality is what inspired to get that other half of like that actual knowledge? And then like where did it all stem from? And where was your first session? Who did you first mix and like cut
Man.
down?
I mean, in terms of just being a musician, my parents listened to a ton of good stuff around the house. I mean, they were like, you know, big into Motown. So like, you know, the Four Tops, the Commodores, the Jacksons, Marvin Gaye, Supremes, all that stuff. My mom loved the Ohio Players,
Yeah.
a lot of Joni Mitchell, and then my dad liked a lot of like Billy Joel and Springsteen and stuff. So it was like
you had a
good
cultivated
mix of like.
same. My mom was the same way with
And
mine.
then, you know, when I got a little older and I started to hear these songs being like reinvented and chopped and pitched, I was like,
Right.
oh damn, like
That's
this
how it
is
works.
dope. And you know, I had a program on my parents' computer called the Creative Wave Studio that was like
Hey.
a serious, you know, no offense, but it was a piece of shit program. But me and my friends used to like, it was a 1-track stereo recorder.
Wait, I think I remember Creative Wave.
It was.
Yeah.
It had a red wave and a blue wave, and you couldn't. It was a 1-track stereo recorder, so it wasn't. You had to
couldn't track.
paste audio on top of other audio, and then you
Right.
couldn't undo it. So like, I would get my friends in my basement, and like we would put on headphones and record into the USB mic, and then like I
Crazy.
would paste the vocals on there, and so anyway. I got to get really curious about how beats were being made, because like even after listening to them for a while, I couldn't understand really exactly how it was being done, because like I didn't have any cousins that DJ'd or produced or
Right.
anything like that. So I downloaded the Fruity Loops 3 free demo in 2004, and that was my first experience with like a DAW, and I was like, oh shit. I was like, it's a rap.
Yeah,
And, like, the sounds were all trash, but I was still like, whatever.
And what do you
this
use
is dope.
today? Now, if you don't mind.
I use Reason now. Yeah.
Yes.
I use Reason.
He was.
Two reasons.
He was actually
Wow.
he was actually showing me the update. Like we were talking about it the other day at the
Yeah.
studio, and I was
It's
thinking
crazy.
of
A lot of
Glam.
people-
I'm
a lot
like,
of people
'cause
don't
Glam's
know.
always
Reason is the.
You
but
got
like,
10?
No, I'm on 5.
yeah.
What?
Yeah, that's
You
what
don't
I
even
make
have
all my
audio
music
tracks
on.
yet.
Yeah, but like that's
What's
how good
audio
it is
tracks?
to me.
No, I'm saying
I've
like
played on all of
prior
them, too.
prior to version 6, Reason was MIDI only. Like that you couldn't
Yeah.
use audio in it.
It's-
but like, yo, 10 is
I've done
what's-
9 at the most, but it's still
you're bugging.
The
Is
way
not
I
the sound
feel.
for you?
You
it's
like-
the
you
way
like
it
the OG
feels.
feel,
I like
yeah.
the grit.
That's like she's like somebody mixing in the box versus mixing on the SSL.
you like
Okay.
that
I'm
feel.
the one
I
that
respect
lets
You're
it.
an
If it
elitist.
hits red, just let it hit red. Like
Right.
I'm one of those.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
respect that.
Shit hits.
What's
let
the
it hit.
what's the updates with the newer version?
Okay,
What's
so
good about it?
I got on Reason in 2006. It was version 3, and it was plenty for what I needed at the time. Then they went a couple versions where it got slowly better. Then version 6, they introduced the audio track, and they added also an SSL. That was either 6 or 7. They added an SSL mixer. So now it's 3 windows. It's the sequencer window, the rack window, and the mixer window. And also in version 10 now, we can use VSTs.
Yeah.
So
I heard about that.
That was a big thing before. The dope thing though is that Reason and a ton of other companies were building their own plugins. All this time we couldn't use VSTs, so now we have those plus
And the new
VSTs.
ones.
So
Wow.
it's like real deadly, and
Yeah.
you can
Wow.
get with flipping the racks around and
Yeah,
Reason
Yeah, you
and
could
stuff.
toggle.
Like
The only reason I haven't got it
Toggle.
is because my computer, the update, it's old. So 5, I can't. Anything
Yeah.
past 6
It's
is
too much.
It's a
I hate that.
Yeah,
well, when you get a new computer, let me know.
I know.
Yeah,
soon.
facts. He was
You're
playing
missing-
around
you're
with it the
missing
other
out,
day, and
yeah.
I was like, because the hues and everything kind of look like the arrangement window reminds me of Logic and the piano roll. So I was like really intrigued.
Yeah.
And his flow of work, and I was like,
I like Logic's layout. I appreciate the simplicity, but like even for Ableton, it looks like math to me. But everybody's
Yeah.
like, no, it's so
Yeah.
easy, and I'm like,
They're all
That's a
gonna
good
be-
way to look at it, math.
the thing
Yeah.
with
It's
like
Ableton
math.
to me is their channels are like they go from right to left, and I'm used to them like left.
This
You know what
way,
I mean? Left to
yeah.
right,
Yeah.
everything like the audio
Yeah.
You're a G though
weird.
for using Pro Tools.
facts.
Yeah.
that
Thank you.
really is.
Honestly,
I don't know anybody
I-
else that does.
Yeah.
I kind of wish I was better with beats in Pro Tools because I do prefer to mix in Pro Tools, so I can get, and I usually do get very surgical with the audio in Pro Tools, but I never got fast with MIDI in Pro Tools. So
Yeah.
like I
Yeah.
feel like it kind of
It's I
hangs
think
me
with
up.
with Pro Tools 12, they've like kind of fixed stuff that they should have had like a long time ago.
Right.
So that's why Pro Tools gets a bad rap because the old MIDI shit was just like super terrible.
Reason and Pro Tools are like my two. I use those more than
Yeah.
anything. So the more I can marry those two,
Yeah,
the
it's
better.
great. I mean, now the thing, so for me with Pro Tools is like, I like using audio. And that's another reason why I didn't really fuck with Reason, because I'm like, I hate
Yeah,
MIDI
you
so
couldn't.
much.
Yeah.
So when I'm like programming a drum, like a drum track in Pro Tools, I'll have an instrument track with like battery, and then I'll program it out in MIDI. But then I used to track out like individually, but now I just right click commit.
Oh yeah.
So once you do right click commit, it'll automatically convert with effects to audio, and then it'll automatically hide the original track, so you have it for later if you want, but then it creates
Gotcha.
a fresh new audio track. So it's just the
That's
workflow's
dope.
great, and like, you know,
They're
Pro
all
Tools
going to
is
be the
dope.
same in like 10 years.
Yeah.
like
That's
all the
facts.
DAWs,
Definitely.
For
That's
real.
facts. That's facts.
Because there's things that I love about each of them.
Yeah.
And I know guys and girls who are beasts in every single DAW, so
Yeah.
it doesn't even matter. It's
Yeah.
just what you know.
So what are you working on mainly nowadays? I mean,
Yeah,
you know,
you're doing a
I was in a session with them yesterday. So in that session, you were producing and recording.
Yeah.
But aside from that, what else do you feel you've been focused more on?
Well, definitely, I'm always more focused on beats. Honestly, I got into the mixing kind of out of necessity, and I'm happy to use those skills for like the people close to me and for artists that I'm working with and stuff. I really don't I take on stuff. I'm working on a project with Rock Marciano right now that I'm mixing for him.
Dope.
That has actually been a really cool, like my style and his style kind of coming together. Has kind of brought a dope feel to the
Is he making
tracks.
beats on it too?
He's made all the beats, yeah. But he came to me. Actually, he came as a reference from my boy Desert Park, and actually also from Just.
Desert Park. I know Desert Park.
You know Boone, yeah.
Boone
He masters everything I do.
The music building.
He's a beast, yeah.
On 38th and 8th, yeah.
They linked me with Rock just because they thought that my producery mixing would be a good fit for what he's doing right now.
Amazing.
So there's that, of course, cooking every day. Me, Buddha, and Grands just opened up a little studio room downtown that you can stay tuned about. We're working on hooking that up right now. We're cooking a bunch. I'm making a ton of beats. There's this artist Don Michael that I do I'm working on a bunch with. You know him too.
Harlem.
Yep. I just dropped 2 joints with him. One called Slow Motion and one called Weed Water Ether.
Nice.
Let's see. Me.
Have you collabed with Just Blaze? Like, how's that?
Me and Just got beats.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah, they're not out yet.
Put him on SoundCloud. Fuck it.
Right.
He
Just
won't
leak
mind.
that shit.
Let me check with Just.
Because it's
Just tag him and tweet.
because
Tag him.
we talk about relationships, and you and Just have a good relationship now, and you started, like you said, getting candy and, and coffee for everybody. So touch on that a little, like your relationship with Just Blaze and how easy it is for you to collab with him now.
Yeah, well, the funny thing too is it was a very long time before these guys knew that I made beats, because I was also kind of the thing is, I was interning, I'm interning, where these guys work. And a lot of these guys are guys who get, bothered on the street every day. You know what I mean? So, the last thing I was about to do was give them the same shit
When
where they
at
work. You know what I mean? So, I kept my mouth shut about beats for a long time. Ariel, walked in on me playing beats one day, and he was like, yo, what is this? I was like, it's mine.
Yeah.
But, so he knew. But then, eventually, the thing is, I never had to be just so you guys know, I made beats, just because we became friends, it came out naturally, you know what I mean? And
at the right time, too,
at the right time, yeah. So, in terms of collaborating with Just, him and I, we never go too long without seeing each other, whether it's for music or just, for a cookout or for a get-together or something like that, or something in the city. So, how that will come about is typically I'll bring him a ton of ideas that I have, and then he'll just kind of some of them are maybe stuff that he could just add to, some of them are ones he really wants to deconstruct, maybe change the tempo, change the drums, or he wants to use a different chop or something. But we have I think last time we linked up, I think he took 11 joints or something like that.
Nice.
I've heard a few. They're definitely better than they were when I dropped them off.
All right, you got him. Let's cue him up.
Let's get it.
Plug them in.
Just Blaze.
But I mean, it's incredible, honestly, especially since Just was definitely one of my big ones growing up.
I mean, he's everyone's
mentor,
producer superhero.
Yeah.
It's he's
Just Blaze.
Yeah, it's so unique with him because he's reached a point, to me at least in his career, where he's really just in the history books. So now he can maneuver in any way.
He'll pop his head out once a year and do a Beyonce record.
That's what I'm
something
saying.
like that.
Yeah, that's how you're supposed to do it.
The thing is, though, he's working on a lot of I was actually honestly surprised because at that battle, Swizz and Just, was the last time I saw you. Just, people started going crazy when Swizz was playing unreleased stuff.
Yep.
And Just has a lot of unreleased fire.
That he didn't play?
That he did not play.
Why not? Why do you think?
I was sitting there
why do you think he didn't play it?
I don't know if it was a courtesy thing, maybe with the artists on
courtesy.
it, or
maybe he didn't have
this or that, or
he knew he had some aces.
Yeah, was there just saving that heat?
But he didn't want to get no cease and desist.
Nah,
I'm talking real aces
shit
too.
Real shit.
Damn. Yeah, you should ask him next time you see him.
We should ask him.
We should ask him next. We should ask him next beat battle. Hopefully, there's another one with Just.
Does Just Blaze have the same phone number?
Yeah.
He does, right?
Yeah.
Let's see if he actually answers the phone.
Call him up right now.
Call him up. Put him on there.
This fucker on the
Just
spot.
right now.
Call him up, Bill.
Put him on the spot.
Call Just.
Call
Let's call him.
Just.
Just Blaze.
He's not gonna pick up. He never fucking picks up my calls. But maybe he will since Mike is here.
Oh shit.
Oh, that's his voicemail.
That would be his voicemail.
Just it's Illmind. All right. No, just Blaze. He's busy. He doesn't like me anymore.
All right, we tried.
Oh wait, what were we saying before that? The collaborations
music.
with you guys.
Oh, yeah.
So speaking of collaborations, so obviously your main thing is you're a music producer. That's your like passion.
Yeah.
So I think it's great that you're like collaborating a lot, like with Just and then like with Budden and Grands and stuff. So
Yep.
what's kind of your process right now in terms of like working with artists and getting records out there? Is it very like relationship based, or are you like shopping around? What's
Yeah, I mean, collaborating is not like I collaborate closely with the people that I work closely with. I don't, send a ton of stuff all over the place. I exchange music with the guys that come through the studio sessions for sure. Like
Right.
we'll exchange info, and they'll send me some ideas that they're working on, or I'll send them some melodies I'm working on. But yeah, I'm actually trying to get better at that now in terms of keeping my session files organized. Like I'm trying to label them with colors. Like definitely got to come back to this. Like this is pretty good. This is a good chop, but like somebody else might be more inspired by it than I am. You know what I mean? Like and I'm also trying to get in the habit of bouncing everything out, no matter how incomplete it is, just so I can refer back to it and send it elsewhere. But I do a lot of different stuff in terms of collaborators. I'll either send them music, sometimes I'll send them drum loops, sometimes I'll send them a sample that I chopped or pitched or something, and vice versa.
Nice.
So
And sometimes you're just be in a room.
Sometimes you're in a room.
Sometimes you're just in a room.
We just
That's
cooked
it.
up 2 the other day.
Yeah, I
That's
mean,
it.
typically when I'm with Buddha and
I gotta
Grands,
hear those.
yeah. Typically when I'm with Buddha and Grands, we just do a roulette style. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Somebody will be sitting down,
Facts.
put a little something down.
Like a real jam session.
Right, sit
Yeah.
up. Somebody else will sit down, put something else down.
Do you prefer melody or drums or both? It's like both. equally.
I like doing both, man, and I love sampling too. Like,
Yeah.
I really love. I just can't. I can't shake it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I'm trying to. I try to get away from it. Just keep it thinking of the clearances
They
and
tell
the
us to
splice
stay
and all
away
the
from
sample
it.
packs and
Yeah.
stuff.
Exactly.
But like, I just love
just
it.
For the
something
culture,
about it.
can't
yeah.
stop
Like
it.
I love,
Just
I love
something about
sampling
it.
too.
Yeah.
That's a fact.
I think I like
Yeah.
sound. I like choosing my drums, but I like to play with the sounds and then
Yeah.
build the drums
Right.
around
Exactly.
that
And,
like rhythm scheme.
Reason actually now has an incredible warping algorithm. So
Amazing.
I've slowed stuff down like 70, 80 BPM and it still holds up.
Still
so
holds up.
like,
Wow.
I chop it into a ton of pieces and I turn it backwards and stretch it, and I like to do a lot of different
Really,
stuff.
really
yeah.
surgerizing.
Right,
I love
right.
it. I want to switch gears. Let's talk about Steel Sessions.
Okay.
So obviously we've had Budden and Grants here. They spoke a little bit about it. Obviously,
Wayno
Perfection,
spoke
you
about
see
it.
Wayno. So yeah, I mean, first of all, I think what you guys are doing is amazing because
Appreciate it, man.
I mean,
Hell
you
yeah.
guys know me at this point. It's like I love, producers and just people in general that care about the culture and
Right.
really just try to engage and do different things that are healthy for different creatives to come together. And it always comes down to like getting people together that are like-minded. And I love when I see music production, and I love when I see artists come together and stuff. So tell the people a little bit more about Steel Sessions. I mean, I think people, kind of have an idea about it, but like give them
Right.
the A to Z rundown of what it is and
Yeah.
how it started.
It's definitely true that a lot of people have kind of an ambiguous idea about it, and that's because it's different for everybody. So essentially what Steel Sessions is a one-on-one workshop for producers and engineers, and it's open format. So how it works is essentially a ticket is a slot, and a slot is an hour. Some people get more sometimes. But you come, and then in the first 30 minutes, you sit with me. And then in the second 30 minutes, you sit with Buddha and Grands. And then in that time, it's just, it's whatever you need. Some people just want to play beats, and we critique them. Some people want to open up their sessions so we could look at them and give them little tricks or help them mix them better or arrange them or sequence them.
So there's like different rooms.
Yeah,
Got
yep.
it.
It'll be one room with me in it, and then another room with Buddha and Grands. Like I said before, some people just come, just to ask us questions, like they're graduating or they're about to move to a city and they want to know what they should do. And then, so that's like kind of that's what controls the flow of the event. But also, once your slot is up, like you don't have to leave. There's always a communal space, so like everybody hangs out, they meet each other, they exchange info. We bring as many of our industry friends through as we can to come be accessible to the attendees and just to chop it up with them and get concepts from it. And Wayno has been joining us recently too to do slots with the attendees. So
I love Wayno.
Yeah, he's a good dude, man. He's
great.
He's a stand-up dude, and he's really been given great information to these people who come through.
He literally cares.
Really.
Like you can, man. The thing I love about Wayno is like when he talks, he like genuinely cares about what he's saying.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I mean, and it's not easy because these steel sessions we'll be going for like 8-10 hours, and it's not easy to sit with people one-on-one and to give them like your full attention for a day. But like honestly, like I know I'm super into it, and Buddha and Grants too, and Wayno as well. I know that we're all just very fulfilled by what we've seen, so like it makes it much easier to do. And
that's a good word to use, fulfilling.
Yeah,
like it just feels good to give, right?
I mean, similar to that intern conversation, we're just trying to remind people of the importance of like getting out and getting into the environment, and meeting people like face to face and exchanging information. And then a lot of these guys, like, they collaborate with each other. Like they collaborate with the people they meet. A couple of them have gotten some placements kind of through our pipeline. So the dope thing about it is that like the best thing we can do for the brand is help people.
Right.
Like if we help people, we're doing a good job. So it's like no shady shit.
No, helping people and inspiring people. It's not about like a suit and tie thing where it's like, okay, we're gonna shop this, and I'm not knocking that obviously because that helps too. But I think what you guys are doing is great because I'm a fan of the style of like giving back that will inspire the person. It's not necessarily like do A, B, C, D, and E and you'll be successful.
And everybody needs different advice. People are at different places, coming from different situations. They're at different levels, in terms of like where they're at. So, that's why we wanted to do something a little more personal, where they would still have the space to meet and follow up with us on the things that we talked about, because it's something we cover a lot. Like sometimes dudes will come like with mixes and we'll just sit for a half hour or their beats or something, and I'll just like help them gain stage, like juice up their kicks, get the brightness right, get the hats like grooving good, and like you'd actually be surprised the amount you can get done in 30 minutes.
That's amazing.
So people use it for whatever they think works for them, and that's what's cool.
I love it.
I actually got my like mixing and kind of one of my beat templates from Mike Kuz at the Steel Sessions, because I was like, yo, just help me like mix this. Like I'm hearing this, I'm hearing that. And then he helped me out. He put some stuff that I wasn't thinking about. Obviously, took it to the next level. And I was like, let me keep this. Let me use this as a template, so that way. And it's something we were talking about the other day. Right. Since they got their room, at Engine Room now, I'm always, knocking on the door. Like, what's up, guys? What's up? Buddy? What are we doing today? But, I'm also a fly on the wall and picking their brains. Like, how do you produce? How do you mix? What do you do? So we were talking about that, where it just saves you time. So, he helped me kind of save time when it comes to like producing and mixing, because how it is. It's like sometimes you just want to lay your idea down. You don't want to have to worry about like creating all these new tracks and, so going back to helping, I think as human beings, we all should be helping people, but it's hard to help everyone, right? But you have to do the best you can. But I think as creatives, we need that. Because sometimes it's hard to
there's also so many different ways that you can go about like the things that we do. Like it's like there's no way that a single person would ever be aware of all the million ways that you could try different things in music. And like
collaboration is everything.
Exactly.
It's really everything. So where can people go to sign up if they're interested?
Our biggest following is on Instagram, just at Steel Sessions, but you can get the tickets at steelsessions.com.
So Steel Sessions, how it's spelled?
SteelSessions.
All right, steelsessions.com to sign up. What is next for you, Mike? What's coming up that you can talk about?
Got let's see, me, Buddha, and Grand's got 2 Dave records coming out soon.
Hey, Davies.
Yep. I got some other stuff with East that's not out, but you know how that goes. It's all in the pot. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Let's see. We got this new space at Engine Room that we're excited about.
Amazing.
I'm working on a tape with JoJo. Me and JoJo are doing a tape where we go 50-50 on all the beats.
Amazing.
Yep. That's my guy.
We had JoJo.
Yeah, we had
Yeah,
JoJo.
Yeah, y'all had him on with
Shout out
Buddha
to
and Grands.
JoJo.
Yep, he's a beast. He's
great.
another one. So me and him are working on some cool stuff, and more Mike Kuz records. Cooking up. I'm cooking up with a lot of different artists. I don't know when everybody's stuff is gonna come out,
Yep.
but just
It's just a lot
keep
going
an
on
eye.
right now.
Yeah, it's a lot of cool stuff going on.
Stuff in the pipeline.
So when it
Lot
does,
in
you
the
definitely got to
pipeline.
come back and let us know.
Facts.
Yo, I'll come back here anytime.
Yeah,
Just
tell me.
absolutely.
Appreciate
Get the
it.
whole squad coming.
We don't got
But
time
we
for
gotta-
one blabber crap, just one.
No, Atlas wants to do the blapper crap. I see it in his
Well,
face.
we
Mike,
can't
you
'cause
know
my-
me too well, Mike. You
My
know me too well.
the reason why we actually really can't is because my browser, my internet doesn't work.
Damn.
Yeah, I've been hitting refresh like a million times.
Well, listen, we got 3
But-
minutes left, so it's all good. Timing just worked out perfectly today.
No, it worked out perfect. But Mike, really appreciate you coming through, man.
Appreciate you guys,
I love
man.
what you
Hell
guys
yeah.
are doing, and like with the seal sessions, and I think this is kind of just something we need. I mean, I think
Yeah, man.
it's great that it's happening in New York and like all the stuff we're trying to do and everything. But
Yeah.
I would really encourage you guys, like for all you guys listening, like regardless of what level you're on, just I think where the magic happens is being around your peers and being around other
Exactly.
creatives. And if you're an established producer, give it a try. You know what I mean? Like it might feel good. In fact, I'll guarantee you it'll feel really good to be able to like feel like you can give back and inspire somebody. It's not all about just like stacking and getting the bag and like showing off like chains and shit. Like, I mean, listen, that's cool too, but give it a try. Give back. You know what I mean?
Facts.
And try to contribute a little bit. It might feel good, and if it feels good, you know what I mean? Why not do it?
You gotta embrace teamwork doing this stuff, man. I mean, you'll never do it, and even all the best bodies of work usually come from multiple people. It's
Exactly.
rarely just
That's
from
what we
one
always
person.
say,
You know
yep.
what I mean? So
That's facts.
we got to do like a Voltron steel
We will.
past the
We will.
aux
Blab.
blap.
1,000%.
You know what I'm saying?
Blap
Like
the
mega.
blaps.
We're gonna do a
Mega
mega
joint.
We're gonna do a mega joint.
Yeah, hell yeah.
1,000%.
Blap
Blap sessions or something.
Yeah, that would be
Blap
dope.
sessions.
Blap
Yeah.
sessions, hell
Do
yeah.
some
Kinda
cool
hard.
shit.
Kinda
Let's give a round of applause to Mike Kuz
Yeah.
for joining us today.
Thank y'all, man. Hell yeah.
Appreciate you. Again, guys, we don't have time for Blapper Crap, but I promise you, next show we will do Blapper
Can we do
Crap.
the whole show?
Love you guys.
No.
Hey.
We could.
We could.
We'll
That'd
see.
be
We'll see. You
cool.
guys will
Maybe.
tune in. But we're out of here. BLAPCHAT.
Later.
Episode 77. See you next week. Peace.
Peace.